Hey everybody, welcome to Broadband Deployment News. So the NRECA, which is a co-op specifically for electric utilities, has created a new tier for their membership that are providing broadband or planning on doing so. That's what we'll talk about today. Thanks for joining me. Rick Uzzi here, Broadband Deployment News. The NRECA, which is near the National Rural Electric Cooperative Association, has been an association that's been lobbying for and helping out electric co-ops like EMCs, electric membership co-ops, for lots and lots of years. And over time, it's primarily been obviously power and those kinds of services, but over time, EMCs had experimented with getting into the internet business even before broadband. We had some customers, believe it or not, that were EMCs that were providing broadband, dial-up broadband back in the early years, like the mid-90s. Before even cable modem service was available, before DSL service, all of that. So they've always wanted to be able to provide services to their membership, and lots of them, over 100 now, are providing broadband services. It's closer to 200 at this point, and there's maybe another 200 that are looking at it. So this is definitely something that has been taking place. And really, as I've talked about in the past, EMCs are really a great option for providing broadband in rural areas, because that's really what they're already servicing, right? Because that's why they exist, is because a lot of times these were rural areas that didn't have good access to power, and because of that, the EMCs were the perfect candidate to get power out to everybody, and they are also the perfect candidate in some cases to get broadband, because you've got these vast areas and counties. You've got these vast areas and counties that are unserved, and they can be better at serving those areas because of the long distances, and they're already providing services to these people. So they've already got electric lines running out there. They already have a customer business relationship with these folks, and because of that, they're really in a good position to do this. Plus, they've got facilities that can help. A lot of times, they've got fiber running between their substations or between their offices that will help them, because they've already got some fiber in the ground. They've got rights of way, or most of the time electric utility poles that they've got. So they've got pole access. So again, really in a good position to be able to do this. So they have been seeking funds through various programs. They were big winners. Lots of them were big winners in the RDOF. So we're going to see a lot of EMCs are going to be getting in the business as those RDOF funds are being released, and some future funds that are going to be released. They'll be getting those, and they'll be getting in the business. They'll be laying fiber, and they're going to be getting their membership customers all set up with this. So in their areas that they cover, they're going to have every single person, basically as an electric co-op. They're really supposed to serve everyone, so they're going to have every single individual in their service area is going to be getting this broadband from them. So again, perfect opportunity, perfect kind of company to do this. So what the NRECA has said is they're going to launch this new broadband tier to help members bridge the digital divide. This is on their website. This is kind of their release about this. NRECA is forming a new broadband tier. Let me make this a little bit bigger so we can read that a little better. Whoops, that's the wrong place. Hold on. Okay, that'll help. That's better. So NRECA is forming a new broadband tier of services to help electric cooperatives navigate the challenges of deploying broadband in the communities they serve. Increasingly, our members' missions include providing access to affordable broadband for unserved and underserved Americans as part of that commitment. So they're talking about here, again, the EMCs have been providing electric in these areas for so long, and increasingly broadband's becoming more important as well. The vision for the broadband tier, based on feedback from dozens of co-op leaders, is to offer additional benefits such as focused relationship building and lobbying on Capitol Hill, and at federal agencies, plus exclusive events and publications and enhanced services and analyses. So this really will help them, I think, kind of focus some of their efforts, some of the association's efforts on the broadband aspect of things. Because right now it's one big mashup as far as the kinds of services that they provide to the EMCs, and there's such a big focus on broadband right now. This makes sense. NRECA will work with members to develop strategy and resources in these areas, federal policy and regulatory advocacy, and that's something that they specialize in right now, communications, events and member education, operations and technology support, It says here membership is voluntary and will carry an additional fee. So if an EMC doesn't want to obviously do this, they don't need to get into this extra membership tier. Any NRECA voting electric co-op exploring broadband service can join for $6,000 per year. So if you're not already in the business, you can join for $6,000 per year. That will give you these education events. You'll benefit from the advocacy, those kinds of things, maybe some of the operations and technology support prior to launching. Co-ops that are already providing broadband service to consumers can join for $12,000 plus $1 per broadband customer or consumer per year. So $12,000 plus for every broadband customer that they sign up, it'll be $1 per year for that. Over 200 electric co-ops offer broadband service, and another 100 to 200 are studying it. Ultimately, about 400 electric co-ops are expected to enter the broadband space. It says here, widespread member engagement will be essential to this new program's success, just as it was 80 years ago for our electric business. Those who've taken on this challenge know the demands of competitive telecommunications businesses are vastly different from the demands already on electric cooperative businesses. So too are the resources needed for NRECA to provide leadership in this new area. So yeah, this is a brand new business for them. So having a company like this support them with specific resources would be good. And by the way, if you are an EMC, if you're an electric co-op, we've been doing this for years. As I mentioned, we've been helping co-ops get in the internet business before broadband. When they were just being able to provide dial-up service to their customers. So we can help in lots of areas. So at the end here, you'll see our contact info. Make sure you reach out to us because we can provide a whole different layer on top of what NRECA is talking about doing here as far as support and assistance for you from cradle to grave, from just your feasibility studies on through deployment and managed services on top of that. So make sure you reach out to us. As electric co-ops enter the competitive market for broadband, they increasingly face well-funded opposition to their efforts in the policy-making arena for telecommunications. We will work together to position NRECA's effort at a level that effectively and efficiently meets our members' broadband needs. And that's true. There's, because of lobbying efforts from the big telecoms, the incumbent providers, they've really lobbied to try to keep government providers out, municipalities, as well as not-for-profits like EMCs, saying that would be anti-competitive. If there are, if that's the case, I think we see that. We do see laws in certain states that say that munis can't get in the business, and there are questions about EMCs, and they try to keep them getting out of the business. Now, the IIJA law that was passed specifically says you cannot exclude organizations, any organization like a co-op or like a muni. So because of that, I don't expect those laws, any state that wants to get money is really going to have to make sure that those laws do not impact the ability for EMCs or munis to get in the business. So we'll have to see how that goes. But because of that, because of these lobbying efforts, it does help to have the NRECA in your corner to be able to make sure that these things are handled the way they should be. That's it for that. And then there is there's on their website right here, we've got, this is their site about it. So again, you've got the NRECA broadband here. As more of America's electric co-ops build broadband networks for their communities they serve, NRECA is building a new opt-in program to represent these vital efforts. So it talks more about it here. Together we can protect your work in broadband for future generations, and it talks about strongest political and regulatory advocacy again, training and events, targeted communications, cooperative business strategies. Why should my co-op sign up? They give you some reasons for that here. They talk about the federal policy and regulatory advocacy, communications, events, and education. So that will be really good, because a lot of times if you go to an NRECA show, a lot of the focus is on electricity and power. I mean, they do have some broadband focus on those things as well, but I'm assuming they're saying that they're going to have events specifically for those that are interested in, that are providing broadband or interested in doing so. Then the operations and technology support, it expands a little bit on that here and what they're talking about. They talk about analytics and technical research to guide your business decisions, including objective demonstrations of technology and business planning. So they may get involved in helping them determine if there's a good business case for it. Protection for your broadband investments, including cybersecurity tools and disaster recovery support. So they're going to provide some base network kinds of security things there. And then economic scale through a national discounts program for broadband vendors. So it sounds like maybe they'll have products and services that they can offer at a discount that are related to broadband services. So this is something you want to check out if you are an EMC. If you are, you probably are already a member. And as I mentioned, it's $6,000 if you're exploring broadband. It's $12,000 per year if you're already a broadband provider, plus $1 per broadband customer for that. So I see a question here. I'm currently working for an ISP from Iraq. We provide 1 gig right now. How long do you think GPON fulfill customer demands and bandwidth when ex-GPON era starts? Not related to this topic, but let's see if I can answer that. We provide up to 1 gig right now. How long do I think GPON will fulfill consumer demands or customer demands and bandwidth when the ex-GPON era starts? Well, I think 1 gig GPON is, I think it's all about competition, and so it's who you're competing with and what the competing marketing message is. Because if you're providing 1 gig service right now, that should be sufficient for just about any residential user. Businesses sometimes need more. You got more people in a building and they're all doing stuff at once. But even at home, I mean, if you got a bunch of people at home and they're all streaming and they're doing all kinds of things at the same time, 1 gig should be more than sufficient. So I think that's going to be good for a while. The issue that we have here is, we've got good broadband in this country in certain areas where you've got several competitors. So if you've got somebody like AT&T in an area, then you've got Comcast in an area, and they're both competing in the same area. Where you've got AT&T that's doing fiber, so they're coming out now and saying, hey, we're going to do 2 gig or 5 gig fiber. You've got Comcast who's doing cable modem service that then has to try to up the ante to make sure that competitively they can tell the customers they can do the same thing. When in reality, the customer is going to be just fine on even probably, half a gig or a gig. They can do more. They can do everything they want on that. The speed's only going to make so much difference. You get to a point and everything's good. So when XG-PON starts, then you got 10 gigabit, and if it's XGS-PON, which is really the one that's going to take off, not XG-PON. So you've got the 10 gig symmetrical PON starts taking off, then you're going to see the same thing. You're going to see the speed wars kick up. You're going to have DOCSIS providers rolling out DOCSIS 4.0, and they're going to be talking about maybe 10 gig symmetrical. They may not get to that, but I think we'll see. It's all about marketing at this point, both on the downstream and the upstream. So yeah, I would not be concerned. If you're offering 1 gig, 10 gig will come out, and then again, it'll be a competitive situation where you want to try to meet the competitor. Thanks for the question, though. So again, if you are a EMC and this is something that you're either thinking about doing, you're already in the business and you're thinking about how you can maybe expand some of the services that you provide over your broadband services, make sure you reach out. You see our phone number there, our website, our email. We provide services, everything from helping you get in the business. That could be, like I said, from feasibility studies to engineering to deployment. And then once you're in the business, what about all the stuff you need to do that you really don't know how to do and maybe don't want to do, right? You want to be able to serve your customers, but you don't want to get into all of that technology. We can help with device provisioning. We can host email if you want to provide email for your customers. We have a fully featured kind of hosted IPTV solution where you have very little equipment on your end. We've got a hosted VoIP solution where you have really no equipment on your end other than what you put at the customer site. We've got DDoS. They're talking about cybersecurity. We can help you with distributed denial of service protection, carrier grade NAT if you have an IPv4 to IPv6 situation. So we have all kinds of things. Check out our website. So thanks for joining me. And if this was helpful, give me a like on the video if you would, and make sure you subscribe, click the little bell, and you'll be notified when I'm live. And I'm live every day with Broadband Deployment News. See you next time. Bye-bye.